Hi guys, it's Cho.
I'm Blake.
Today on the XY podcast, our topic today is, our question of the day is, does a game need to be more atmospheric or action based? And the first topic we're going to be going through is what makes a game atmospheric and what makes a game adrenaline packed, action packed. So with our first list is what makes an atmospheric game. So our list goes through storytelling, setting, immersive, music, character development, and pacing. Anything you want to else say about that, Blake?
I would say probably the immersive part
Immersive.
is the key to what makes it atmospheric. In a close second, I would say storytelling.
Really, I don't think storytelling and immersive. I mean, they're big parts of it, but I think the major key point is character development.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for our second part, what makes an action game is it's fast paced, you versus immense odds. It's usually competitive, not always though, and the music and pacing, just like with atmospheric, but
Yeah, music and
intensity,
pacing
yep.
really has to do with both, honestly.
Yep.
But I would say the key thing to action is, for me personally, off of what I play, would probably be multiplayer. Same with a lot of other people, I think. But like you said, not always. There's Dynasty Warriors, which it used to be multiplayer. It's not anymore.
Yeah. Feels
But-
bad, dude.
But it's still an action game, even though it's just one player. But based off what I played, probably most would be multiplayer games.
No, I agree with that whole notion. I think a lot of time action games are competitive.
Yep.
All right, and onwards to atmospheric games. So our list consists of Shadow of the Colossus, Monster Hunter, Dark Souls, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy 15, Nier, Last of Us, every Resident Evil game except for 5 and 6, and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, and those are just a few, obviously, but those are just the ones we came up with. I don't know. What do you think about Shadow of the Colossus?
Shadow of the Colossus. So the first time I picked up the game, I was like 12 years old, and the first time I played it, I had no idea what was going on. I think when I was playing it, it took me about a week to find the first boss. So yeah,
What makes it atmospheric, though?
I mean, just like I didn't know where the first boss was is because they just kind of just throw you into the game.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. You just wake up. Your chick is like sleeping, and you're just like, oh god, I don't know what to do, and then you just kind of just randomly pressing buttons, and then my 12-year-old self didn't realize that you have to hold like the circle button, and then the light actually means something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. First time I played it was actually after watching a streamer. So I think I had a little bit different experience because I kind of knew what was going on. So I'd rather have gone in blind, but obviously that didn't happen. But it's an interesting game in the fact that it doesn't tell you many details. You're just kind of killing these monsters and you don't know exactly why. So I don't know if I'd even call them monsters, but you know what I mean. And that's kind of what makes it so atmospheric, is because you can tell there's a story, but you just don't necessarily know what it is.
Yeah, and then the only time you're actually going to be able to know what the game is really about is or at the end when they kind of explain why you're doing everything. Everything kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, talking about monsters,
All right.
let's go into Monster Hunter.
All right. I mean, I would say Monster Hunter is more of an atmospheric game just because, Monster Hunter's story is really linear. There's no real development whatsoever with any of the characters, I would say, besides actual player progression.
Yeah. No, I mean, that one's on the fence because nobody buys Monster Hunter for the game, or
For the game, yeah.
for the story.
Yeah.
Nobody buys Monster Hunter for the story. Everyone buys it to fight monsters, basically. But at the same time, it's it's one of the things with the setting. The setting and the monsters have their own personality, and the way the monsters interact with each other and the environment, it sets up this universe, this fictional universe, in a way that there is an atmosphere, there is an environment that's alive. So it's more atmospheric to me instead of just slaying monsters, moving on, slaying the next monster, moving on.
So, but my whole thing about Monster Hunter is that the controls are clunky to make it an action-packed game. Because you can't necessarily just beat something down just beating it down, just overwhelming it. It's more of a tactical strategy type of combat system.
Yeah, it's more methodical, more thought out.
Yeah.
And then going back to more of the atmosphere, it's we talked about this a little bit, but each of the monsters kind of have their own personality too, which it's obviously not character development by any means, but like what's that one you were talking about?
The bird with the rock.
Yeah, the bird with the rock. Like, it has its own personality. Same thing with the T-Rex thing. We don't know any of their names. Don't hate us. But
we're new to the series. Be gentle.
But that one has a different personality, where that thing is just aggressive. It's kind of a bitch, to be honest.
Yeah, and then not even that. I mean, we were talking about how turf wars are huge. That game. It's just like when you see it happen for the first time, you're like, oh, dude, what the hell's going on? It's like...
Yeah. And that's interesting, too, because some of them engage in turf wars, depending on what monsters on each side. Some of them don't. Some of them are more passive. So it depends, like I said, on their personality. And then same thing with the environment they're in. There's 5 different environments, and they're all pretty different. And then the monsters in them kind of shape how the monster is looked at. For example, there's the forest environment, where obviously it's just a monster in the forest. But then there's I believe it's called the Rotten Vale, which is, spoiler alert, I'll give it a second if you want to pause, where the monsters go to die, which, if it's kind of like a gross looking, dingy environment. So if you're fighting a monster there, the monster as a whole just looks meaner, I guess. Looks more terrifying in a way, as opposed to if you fought the same monster in the forest one, it won't look as mean, I guess.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And on to the next game, we have Dark Souls. So I think Dark Souls falls under the category, or the categories that we put Monster Hunter in, very well. I mean, the only thing I would say about Dark Souls, argue it's even more atmospheric than Monster Hunter, because just every monster, every boss, just every setting in the game, just really immerses you into the actual world of Dark Souls.
I mean, I gotta give props to the character designer, just because all the monsters,
they're terrifying.
Enemies, they all look pretty scary, which is obviously what they're going for, which helps it be that atmospheric game. But same thing with that one. We were debating putting it action versus atmospheric. We went with atmospheric because, kind of along with Monster Hunter, it's not hack and slash necessarily, but it's more thought out fighting instead of just charging in, spamming the A button.
Yeah, that's my type of game. Alright, on to the next game, Zelda Breath of the Wild. So we thought this was more of an atmospheric game because Zelda has been not to be a dick or anything, but it's been really losing its pizzazz the last 2 games, I would say. It's just really generic, because it's the same story being told, but they just have to kind of repaste it into something good.
And I think, this is the first big open world Zelda game, but even
Yeah.
I guess you could even consider the Nintendo 64 ones open world if you really wanted to. But there's just such a in the environment itself in Zelda Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is almost like a character in its own. There's so much personality in the land. There's so much to find, so much to do in general, that the setting is what makes it atmospheric for the most part, completely, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just, I guess, you have to have this rich atmosphere for any open world games to really succeed, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to go, to, point A better be as cool as point C, vice versa, in some type of way.
And, I mean, it like, some people make the argument, when any open world be atmospheric, and obviously not if the whole open world is a desert and there's nothing.
Cough, cough, dinosaurs, cough, cough.
I haven't played it. It's sitting over there, but I haven't played it yet. But then it's not necessarily atmospheric, but when there's so much diversity in the land, so much to do, so much to find. I remember when I played it, I just saw this mountain and I was like, that kind of looks cool. I wonder if there's anything at the top of it. I doubt it. And you climb up it and there's like a whole thing up there. I think it was like there's a guy up there and it was like a pond, a heart-shaped pond, I think. And I think it sent you on a quest, and it's just like, in any other game, if you climbed up that mountain, it would either not let you climb it,
Skyrim.
or it would be like an invisible wall, or
Yeah.
there's just nothing up there.
Totally. And next on our list is Nier. The first Nier, correct? Or
Yeah.
Yep. So, I personally think Nier is more action-based than atmospheric. But then again, I would say it's more atmospheric because it is... The reason why people enjoy the game so much isn't so much for the combat system, but rather because the world's so wacky and crazy with these crazy undertones.
Yeah. I feel like they both do a pretty good job of setting up this, I guess it's technically post-apocalyptic, with the androids in the second Automata. And then, but the first one, that one was more atmospheric to me because mainly it had a super strong story and super strong characters, in my opinion. I believe her name was Kaine, something like that. Especially her character had such a strong development, but you kind of don't figure that out until I think the end, because it's the same way as Automata, where you have to play it a few times. And I actually don't remember if they had this in Automata, but that game changes from a arcade shooter to platforming. It changes all over. Just the normal Nier, or the Nier or whatever, had just a storybook section where there's no gameplay, you're just reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's no voice acting, you're just reading it. I think there might be music in the background, but towards the end you figure out why her name was Kaine, where she got to where she is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interesting way of conveying that character development, because it was almost like an origin story at the end of the game. So it kind of just makes sense at the end, and her, and along with all the other characters in the game, really helped that game become atmospheric, just because of who they were as a character and how they got there and their development along the way. But I didn't see that in Nier Automata.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, they weren't as strong as characters to me, which I know there's a lot of 2B fanboys out there. They're gonna hate on me, but I just didn't see it.
Like, in what matter? Like, just, do you think that they were just lacking in development, or do you just not like the characters, or?
I thought it was it was almost faked to me. Like they had to do it this way because that was almost what was expected, I think. Okay, we're gonna have some spoilers coming up, just so everyone knows. This game's been out for a while, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So in Automata, they're androids, obviously, and then you're kind of thinking. What I thought is, they're androids. They're not supposed to have emotion, and then when 9S, the guy, almost dies, or I think he doesn't actually die. He almost dies. That's when she starts showing emotion, which I thought was almost too predictable, almost just kind of bland.
And so you think it was like a very linear, the storytelling?
Just a very typical character progression for an android, I guess.
Okay.
But I felt 9S was a way stronger character than 2B was, just because at the beginning of the game, 2B's, let's finish the mission, we gotta stick to the mission, don't get distracted, blah blah.
Yeah.
And he's kind of joking the whole time, which kind of made him, I think, like you said earlier before the podcast, he's a little more human right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then she eventually actually does end up dying, and that's when he kind of goes berserk, which is definitely human emotion there. So his was more almost, I don't want to say realistic because they're androids, but his was more relatable, I guess, is what I should say.
Okay.
But I don't know, I just felt like hers was weak and typical.
Alright.
But
I haven't played the first Nier, so I can't really say which one's better. I enjoyed Nier Automata, so
play the first one.
we'll see. And next on our list,
even the book, there's a book. In Automata, you have the robot that floats behind you or whatever and shoots. In the first one, it's a book. And that book has so much character, it's amazing. It talks, it sounds dumb. But even that book has so much character and so much personality that's what makes it atmospheric. It's kind of funny.
That's funny. That sounds awesome.
I have it.
All right. Next on our list is Last of Us. So with Last of Us, we talked about the gameplay too, and we think the gameplay is superb in Last of Us. Don't get us wrong, but what really separates the game is they told this whole post-apocalyptic, zombie, setting in a completely different way of really just humanizing the characters and the whole journey of what is to love, redemption in the story.
Yeah. That one's kind of it's atmospheric in multiple ways. I would say mostly between the connection between Joel and Ellie.
Yeah,
those are two protagonists. It's just such a strong connection. Props to the voice actors. And it's just so real, I guess. Like, it doesn't feel necessarily like a script they were given and had to read all the way down and then they're done with their job. It felt more than that. It felt like a real connection almost. And that's due to whoever wrote the actual script anyway, but they just did a great job doing that, and it conveyed so well, and that's what made it so atmospheric in my opinion.
Really, I think not really. I don't. Well, the game is really atmospheric. I think the character development, it's just pretty insane. Just like with the ending of the first game, it was just like, what would you do in that scenario? Like, a lot of people say different things, but if you look at it from Joel's perspective and what we've gone through with his journey with Ellie and his whole background story, do you really fault the man? No, you don't fault the man. You actually sympathize with him.
Oh yeah. I definitely do too. Yeah. I think I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because if you think of The Last of Us, and this is more than The Last of Us, this is a ton of games. It's set in a zombie apocalypse or infected, whatever you want to call it. But that's not the story. The story is their journey, I guess, as characters.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Metal Gear Solid. It's based on like war and that kind of stuff, nukes mainly, but that's not. It's the game isn't about nukes. It's about all the snakes and their brotherhood, their father, their whatever, and them as humans, not necessarily as soldiers. Which I just want to relate to that because it was kind of the same way where that's the overarching story, but it goes way deeper than that, obviously. But
and then next on our list we have Resident Evil. Okay, we have Resident Evil, everything except for 5 and 6. That is an atmospheric game. So with this, I would say, 5 and 6, they were just, blockbuster shooter games. Nothing really to say about them. And then the other Resident Evil games are really based on we're gonna scare the crap out of you or make you feel trapped.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely 7. They finally figured out what they were doing wasn't kind of working. Actually, I can't even say that. I think 5 was the best selling in the series. I think I'll have to check on that.
All right.
But anyway, 7 was. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
I'm curious now.
Yeah.
7 was so atmospheric in the way that the house you're in, I think mostly the whole game, is just gross and dark and dingy. I like the word dingy if you couldn't tell.
Dingy.
But it makes it hard to look at, which is kind of I think what they're going for. I think they even were, when the game released, they even sold a candle that you were supposed to light while you were playing it, and the candle just smelled terrible. I think.
What you actually smelled the candle?
I didn't, but like what it's described as,
yeah.
I'll have to look it up. It's just like it's gross, and you're supposed to light it while you're playing.
Yeah.
So it immerses you more.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of funny because the house is already kind of gross or whatever.
That's awesome.
But
you actually are correct that Resident Evil sold 11.8. Yeah, 11.85 million copies.
Huh. So.
And then Resident Evil 7 sold 4.8 million copies.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then the main characters, that's tricky because the owners of the house each have their own personality, which kind of helps it be more immersive. I think the dad just more in your face, aggressive. The mom just kind of creepy and weird. Son he's more intelligent. He plays with you more. But I feel like the main character, I think his name's Ethan, who you're playing as. I feel like he doesn't develop at all.
Well, I don't think it's like, especially those type of games. I mean, the reason why it's so different from, I would say, Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Is because Silent Hill is more of a this is my sins type of things.
Yeah.
And then develops the story. I think, with Resident Evils 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7, it's more of you're this guy who has a mission to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely more the setting than the character development, where you're right, where Silent Hill has honestly both.
Yeah.
Has a great setting. I mean, I guess the setting's kind of the same every time in Silent
Hill. It's Silent Hill, but there's different parts of Silent Hill.
You're right. The character development definitely helps with that too. It helps you attach to the character more because everyone has things they're not proud of.
Yeah, totally.
But
totally. All right.
So this is a big one.
All right.
Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy 15.
Controversy.
Very, very, very. I personally am disappointed. I waited for that game to come out, I think, maybe a decade and a half, pretty much, and Yeah, pretty disappointed, but I personally think this game's more more hack and slashy than atmospheric. But Blake he is here to disagree with me.
Yeah, I feel like when I think back on that game, I played it when it launched. I don't. I could barely even remember the boss battles or even just the enemies in general that you fight. But what I remember most is traveling around with the group that you're in. I remember going to the different towns. I remember doing the car rides, which they have conversations in the car rides. I remember the campsites, and that's what made it more atmospheric to me. Is the world itself and the bond between the four of them, because like I said, that's what I remember about it. I don't really remember too much of the combat, but I don't know. I can also see though how it is a hack and slash, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would be curious to see what they changed, because I know they've changed a lot since I played it.
I personally think they can't get any redemption from me, so yeah.
That bad?
Yeah, just I've waited so many years for that game, and it's complete crap. So.
What do you think about the character development, though?
So I think the character development's funny and stuff. I think it's definitely like that Japanese type of humor, that Japanese anime type of humor, which I thought was pretty cool. But I don't think they set the world up properly. I know that you have to watch Kingsglaive before playing 15.
And they had an anime series too.
Yeah, I mean, did that contribute to the story at all?
It did, in a way that it was so important that it wasn't in the game. Because the anime, I think there's 4 episodes, one for each of the I don't know, one of each of the people you're traveling with.
Okay.
So it tells you why they're with you.
Okay.
Because you don't know why in the game. You just think they got sent out with you, like these bodyguards.
Yeah.
But really, each of them have played a role in your life in the anime, and it tells you all that, which is so stupid that it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But if you, most people didn't even know about it, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but like I said, it should have just been in the game.
So, would you say that... I mean, you could say it's atmospheric because of those things.
Yeah.
But the game by itself, though, I think drops the ball on both ends.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
All
right.
Do we want to talk about Wolfenstein?
I mean, I've never played. I've seen some things about it where it's just if Germany won the war type of world.
Yeah, I'll just glaze over real quick. It's like he said, it's a setting in which Germany won World War II. So that's, as you can imagine, the setting's pretty dark. But it's atmospheric in the fact that it's a setting that won't ever happen, hopefully. Well, won't ever happen, but it's the way they set it up and the way the world is moving in that game is... It's going to sound bad because they're Nazis, but it's interesting to see that perspective.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. Do you ever see a black guy in the game?
Yeah.
And what happens?
They're usually on the Resistance.
The Resistance.
So your side, yeah.
Right. They're usually on the Resistance. Is there a black guy on the Nazi side?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I can recall.
Right.
I might be wrong.
That's historically accurate then.
Yeah, I honestly think all the Nazis either have helmets or masks, so you can't see them, or they're blonde hair, blue eye.
Yep. Okay. All right. On to the next section. So for action games, we came up with a list of Battlefield, Battlefront, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, battle royale games such as PUBG, Fortnite, League of Legends, Overwatch, Dynasty Warriors, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Left 4 Dead, and Grand Theft Auto.
Let's start with your Your cup of tea.
With my baby,
League of Legends. Let's do it.
So with League of Legends or any just big multiplayer games, it has to be action packed no matter what, because when you're playing these games, it's like when you're playing sports. You're pretty much you want to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of action games, I think competitive.
Yep.
And I think if I don't win or my team lets me down, I'm gonna get mad.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, anything kind of esports too. I guess not anything, but mostly esports games too.
I mean, can you argue maybe Hearthstone isn't?
Yeah, I would.
Would you consider that an action game?
You're right. I take that back. I mean, you're right.
I'm just asking.
No. I didn't think about Hearthstone and stuff, but you're right. Or even like the Pokemon tournaments. That wouldn't really be action.
Do you don't think that's action packed? Do you think that? So would you say StarCraft is action packed?
Never played StarCraft.
Never played StarCraft.
Don't know.
Don't know.
But like Pokemon is turn based, so it slows it down. It's more like a game of chess. Same, you know what I mean?
So so would you consider chess to be a sport? So
I mean, I would consider.
Maybe that's what I'm trying to ask.
I mean, if esports is a sport, then I would say chess is a sport.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty interesting, but
yeah.
So my whole thing about action games and like multiplayer games is there's a lot of inputs that you're putting in as a player.
Yeah.
That's my big thing.
I mean, it gets your hands sweaty, man.
Yeah. No, it does. It really does.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline.
Whew. Especially with Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six Siege. Love that game. I can go back and play that game whenever. But that one's a little different in the fact that, especially if you're the defending team, unless you're a roamer, you kind of just want to stay in the room. And that's not necessarily run and gun like Call of Duty or Battlefield, but it's still action-packed in the fact that at any moment, the shit can just start blowing up. People can start charging the room. But especially when you're the last one alive against 3 people, whatever, your hands get sweaty, the adrenaline gets going. It's action-packed for sure. But should we go with the trend, battle royales?
Well, I mean, battle royales. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. I would say it's it's an action game because you're versus other people. It could be action-packed, or you could have that Rainbow Six type of vibe where you don't know when you're gonna get shot at, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
I have this suspicion that when the Hunger Games movies came out, that's when the battle royale started.
Like the trend?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that, definitely.
Just thought that.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. No, totally. No, it did.
I just thought it's a good concept. I just thought it was funny that it started. I could be completely wrong. That's just my.
Well, I mean, like maybe, I mean, it's definitely. I think that's when it definitely did become popularized. But yeah. I mean, there's always been like things that are similar to battle royale games.
Yeah.
Actually, let me see when H1Z1 came out.
Did H1Z1 come first or
DayZ? I think.
There's DayZ. There's Calling.
I think DayZ came out first.
Yeah, I think you're right. DayZ's been around forever, I feel like. But he's looking that up. I'll kind of group in Call of Duty to Battlefield and Battlefront, which is basically just the Star Wars version of Battlefield.
Well, like Arma 3 came out in like 2013, so.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say because all those have mods too.
Yeah.
So. You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Who knows?
I mean, the Hunger Games came out in 2012.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I would say the Hunger Games probably snowballed it to this point.
A little off topic. Just want to ask what your thoughts on the matter. But yeah, Battlefield, Battlefront, Call of Duty, kind of self-explanatory. run and gun, especially nowadays with the sliding and jumping and boosting and whatever the fuck. It's sorry, that's in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'll be fair to Battlefield. But I guess Battlefield is a little more tactical.
Would you say it's more tactical? Because, you know, have you seen those clips where people just do some, like, crazy stuff? Of, like shoot a tank up in the air to, like, crash it up into the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play it. I guess that's the joy in it, is you can play it however you want.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I mean, those are pretty self-explanatory. Action games, kind of just jump online, play with friends, blah, blah, blah. But let's go into Overwatch while we're at it.
I mean, just Overwatch, you know, it's like CSGO or like any Call of Duty online match, you know. It's just constant action.
Yeah.
Like constant action.
And then we can switch gears. Let's go to more single-player based action games.
So, Dynasty Warriors, definitely a hack and slash.
Definitely.
I mean, even though I would argue that it's, you know, it's pretty story rich. You know, I love that game.
Here we go. Background information. I played Dynasty Warriors a while ago. Thought it was fun. I just never even paid attention to the story. I told Cho that over here. I was like, yeah, it's fun. I don't know anything about the story. I got yelled at.
No, I didn't yell at him. I was just like, oh, you mispronounced the name of the faction, you know.
Yeah. Apparently there's a lot more story than I was aware of.
I mean, so if you guys don't know, Dynasty Warriors is about, like, the whole tale about the Three Kingdoms. And, you know.
Dynasties.
Yeah, the dynasties, you know. Definitely good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Check it out.
But, yeah, that one's just almost like a mindless jump online, or not online, jump on your game when you just want to be entertained, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, Dynasty Warriors is all about the sick combos. Same thing with Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, if you would throw those in there.
Never played Devil May Cry.
You never played Devil May Cry, really?
Never. Always wanted to, never did it.
I love Devil May Cry just because the combo system is super epic. Like, super epic.
Do you like when they revamped it?
No, I think they ruined the game completely from that.
Is that... Sorry, I've never played. Sorry for my ignorance. But is that supposed to be the same Dante as the previous games?
Yeah, so they kind of
is?
reskinned them.
Okay. Just different kind of personality.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Alright, just curious.
Yeah.
Bayonetta, pretty self-explanatory.
So it's like Devil May Cry with the female.
Hack and slash.
Yeah.
Action-packed.
So,
Definitely action-packed.
Yeah. So, same thing as Devil May Cry.
Almost, yeah. Grand Theft Auto, that's a tricky one. In a way.
I mean, like, when I hop on Grand Theft Auto, it's more like I'm just gonna fuck around and beat the shit out of a prostitute. I mean, you know, or just like get in a car, run over people. How many stars can I get? I'm not really playing the game for like the actual story. Me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with that one because it honestly depends how you play, if it's action-packed or not.
I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, just like
if you do the story, it eventually will be.
Yeah.
But who plays this
story? I know exactly.
Actually, the story in 5 wasn't terrible. But
yeah.
It's because like I've seen some people that just want to customize their cars and get the best car.
Yeah. Have you seen the Grand Theft Auto like role playing servers?
Yeah.
Those are funny.
Those are funny. I mean, but that's not action packed.
It's not action packed,
but so it's hard to say, but. Or if you get 5 stars, then it's gonna be action packed.
Yeah.
So I mean that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not atmospheric either.
Yeah.
You're just whatever city they put you in. But
true. And then Left 4 Dead.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's just pew pew zombies, pew 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 zombies, and then when the tank comes, you're like
tank.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's pretty. Same thing with what is that? Vermintide Warhammer.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of Just thought I'd put that in.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about things that are both. Both have a great atmosphere, great action.
And it's hard to say which one really is. It leans on more.
Yeah, and there's multiple of these. We just have a few, but we kind of touched on this, but let's go to Nier Automata.
I mean, I personally think it's really unique just because I think the combat system is great and just how it goes to, like, you know, like a 2D scroller into an arcade game, blah, 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 and how rich the setting is. I think it just goes really well hand in hand to play the game.
Yeah. So, like, some of those boss battles, you have those, I don't even know, the orbs.
Yeah.
They're just flying at you like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely action-packed, but although I liked the first one better, the setting was still interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting enough to be atmospheric, and especially like it's almost like a downtown with a huge crater in the middle. It's just like, it's like a great setting, and like what happened here, what's this actual story behind all this, which it does explain. So it's a good mix of both, definitely.
Yeah. Most definitely. And next on our list is Kingdom Hearts. And I think Kingdom Hearts is a good version of Final Fantasy 15.
I agree. The only thing that makes me stop and think is the story is all over the place.
Alright, so the story is definitely all over the place, but there's definitely... So there's like two lines.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so there's like, you know, the gods, whatever, the Kingdom Hearts world, and then there's like, you know, Sora and the crew that you play with.
Yeah.
And then this is like the other storyline is, you know, the mobile games like the DS and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then kind of find out they're like kind of reincarnated versions, yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's like almost, the gameplay's great.
Yeah.
It's, like you said, it's pretty similar to Final Fantasy. You have your attacks, and then you have your magic summons. It's funny though, because when you're playing Kingdom Hearts, and then one of the few animated cutscenes come up, and that music starts playing.
Yeah.
That's when it hits you, man. That's when it gets atmospheric.
Yeah.
Mainly for me. I mean, the whole game has a story and all that, but
I would just say just having Disney characters and being in the Disney like world, where like each of the worlds that you travel to is just atmosphere. You just go to the world and like, wow, this is how it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Some more than others,
Yeah.
but definitely. Yeah. Okay. All right.
On to the next game, Metal Gear Solid. This is Blake's baby. I'll let him start it off.
Don't get me started.
Sorry, dude. All right.
I think I touched on this a little earlier in the podcast, but amazing story. I'm sure some people get a little confused, but if you know the story, it's an amazing story, great atmosphere. Each game has a different atmosphere for the most part. But it also has great action. The only reason I say action, because it's more stealth-based, is because you can play action. Especially in Metal Gear Solid 4. You can kind of play it stealth if you want, or you can, especially I think it's Act 1, you can team up with like the factions, because there's two factions battling against each other, and you're not on either of them. But if you want to jump on this one and shoot at the other side, they'll kind of help you in a way.
Yeah.
So, it's almost like a side versus side war thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or with 5, they definitely made that however you want to play. You can go in stealth with a pistol and just put everyone to sleep, or you can roll in with your helicopter and machine gun and do it that way too. So we'll have to do a whole podcast on Metal Gear Solid one day, but it's definitely both atmospheric and gameplay action.
Alright. And me personally, I think Metal Gear Solid I don't know. I've only played bits and pieces, never finished the game. So
That hurts. That hurts.
Man, it's just a lot of. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of games.
Yeah, that's true. Especially, a lot of people don't know there's so many canon ones, especially on like the NSX or whatever it's called.
And NES.
Something like that. I don't know. There's so many 3-letter systems.
Yeah. Alright. Next on the list is we have The Witcher.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really to explain. You could say, you could even throw in Skyrim and Fallout in this category too as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just you're thrown into this world, and they do a great way of like world setting because you're actually exploring the world. I would say you're more exploring the world than following a standard quest line because you have to do all these side quests to really get the experience of the game.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But it's like you said, the main story is really good, especially in The Witcher 3. Can be honest, I didn't beat Skyrim.
I don't blame him. No one really blames him. It's just like
I couldn't even tell you what the story was in that, to be honest.
You're a dragon, dragonborn.
But yeah, I can speak for Witcher 3. Great story, but like you said, you have to do the side quests to get the full experience. And once you do that, that's when the game really reveals itself almost and really becomes immersive and atmospheric.
Yeah.
But it also has great combat.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say Fallout or Skyrim really has great combat. I just think it's just funny because you shoot something and they like go flying. The game is so glitchy that it's fun.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but I mean, when in The Witcher, it's definitely more of a precise gameplay. Precise. Not I want to say precise, but it's not glitchy.
It's action.
It's action packed, baby.
Sometimes you have a big dragon thing, and sometimes you're fighting like 10 different people coming at you at once. So it's still a little more not tactical like Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we didn't put it in solely action or atmosphere, but it's a good balance between hack slash and methodical, I guess.
Yep.
But
and those are all our games.
All right, so
Yeah. I mean,
what do you prefer?
I prefer action based games because I think it's really hard for me, especially like Blake knows this. The only games I really do play are multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I'm mostly on League of Legends, so yeah. I mean,
yeah. I have to go atmospheric because I don't have anyone to play online with.
No, it's just a single player pleb.
No, but like he said, I love Metal Gear Solid. If it has a great atmosphere, great story, I'll probably still play it, even if the gameplay isn't the best. But yeah, I definitely go atmospheric.
So my whole argument about that is, I have a really big problem is, if the action or the gameplay, like if the gameplay is clunky and not smooth, I can't play the game.
What do you think about what are they called? The visual novel games.
So those games, so
like a lot of the anime portable ones,
yeah,
and like Telltale and all.
Telltale, like they do like Doki Doki.
Yeah.
So like I think those games it's kind of more of a niche thing. Like that's something. Like that's like reading a book to me. It's like you do it.
Do you consider it a game?
I do consider it a game because it's. Oh, I mean, you can't really consider it. You can consider it a game, but it's a visual novel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's not a game, but it's definitely you have choices, and this is like, and then just visualizing it for you. Yeah.
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 I guess it kind of depends on which one too. Like Doki Doki, straight reading the entire time.
Yeah.
Whereas Telltale has some gameplay.
Oh, I mean, like spam
point and
X,
click.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yeah.
Guess that's that then.
Yeah, that's that. And Blake, what have you been listening to? What have you been watching? What have you been doing?
I've actually been playing Rainbow Six. Actually, I just got back into it again. Been playing a lot of Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, baby.
Just got to high rank last night. just excited to see where that takes me, because from what I've heard, that's when the game actually starts. I haven't been watching much. Actually, that's a lie. I've been watching Death Note, the series, not the show. I haven't finished it. Probably about more than halfway through. That's about it. Listening to the new Plot New album. A lot of people probably don't know what that is.
No idea.
Great band. I would check it out. What about you?
How do you spell plot? P-O-T?
No, plot like
Plot,
yeah,
P-L-O-T.
like a great story plot.
Plot, alright. And what type of music are they?
They used to be more metalcore, but they've gotten a little lighter. They're more alternative.
Okay.
Check it out. Check it out.
Will do.
What about you? What you been playing? Watching?
I mean, I've been really playing much games, honestly. I mean, I haven't been playing League in about a month or two now because I just don't like the new patch they released. But I've just read the new patch notes for patch 8.3, and they're kind of revamping the whole mage system in the game, so I might hop on, check it out. I mean, and I'm watching, for anime-wise, I'm watching Darling in the Franxx. It's current winter anime, I think. And there's like 6 episodes out. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty funny. It's a mecha anime.
Okay.
So if you like Gainax or Trigger stuff, definitely would recommend it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And what else have I been watching? I mean, I've been watching Violet Evergarden too. That's another anime. It's okay. It's definitely more story driven. I haven't been really too enthralled by it, but pretty animations, you know.
Gotcha.
And I've been listening to music wise let's look this up. Been listening to Remote Drive. They're kind of like teenage angsty.
Okay.
Teenage angsty. Without, the angsty isn't cringy though. So it's Remote Drive, REMO, and then Drive. But you should check them out.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, guys. This is Blake.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. First podcast. Yeah. This is Cho.
Yep. All right. First podcast. Love you guys. TTYO.